Welcome, my name is Zachary, and today we are going to talk about how to stop intrusive thoughts and overthinking. Now, this is a massive problem for many reasons, and it's interesting because it's not isolated to one group of people. All of us experience overthinking and intrusive thoughts from time to time. The frequency varies depending on person to person, but each person approaches it and handles it differently. And if a person does not learn to handle it or alleviate it naturally, it can cause a ton of problems, and the effects can be really high levels of stress on the body, on the mind, not pursuing a dream or a goal. And another hidden effect of the overthinking intrusive thoughts, and you might have seen this in your experience, I certainly have seen this in myself, is it leads us to distracting ourselves more. Now, distraction is one of the biggest problems that we are experiencing currently on the planet, along with lack of purpose. Again, it really is in our best interest to alleviate this naturally and learn how to do it through training the mind. And that's why we're here. And I'm very excited to give you guys 4 awesome ways to do that. Okay, so the first technique is begin to identify less with the thoughts that you're having. When we identify with every thought that we're having, that is what, again, gives power. Me, I, my thought. That is a conditioned belief that has been passed down in our modern society, and it's simply untrue. Not every thought that you have is your thought. A lot of thoughts that you have are conditioned and programmed. So if we and you believe that every thought you're having is mine, this is me, it's my identity, then you're going to cause a ton of unnecessary stress. So at the core of it, it's starting to begin to practice to step back when the overthinking is happening a little bit. It's not about stopping, it's actually letting it happen. Letting it happen and learning to not identify with every thought. This is going to give you a chance to be a more responsive state. And the way that you can do this is by recognizing the impermanence of the thoughts. And this is the main tenet teaching in Buddhism. And it states that everything is changing, everything's in flux, everything's in a constant change or transformation. Now, it's no different in your mental realms. The thoughts are going to change themselves. You don't actually have to change the thought. It's just going to simply change. It's the over-identifying, again, that grabs on or clings to the thought and starts squeezing it. Although, ironically, that's the opposite of what you actually want. You want the thought to go away. So learning to identify less with the thought allows for the nature of the impermanence to happen. The thoughts will change themselves. But this is where step 2 is so important. This is why, again, all 4 of these work together. Step 2 is direct your attention to mindful breathing. So you want to start shifting the attention towards something that's real, something that's actually happening. And this is where the breathing comes into play. So when I'm experiencing overthinking, so instead of identifying with all the thoughts and the fear, because that's where a lot of it stems from, is fear, fear of rejection, all these different things, fear, discomfort, etc. I train not to identify with the thought as much. Doesn't mean that it doesn't happen, that there's still not some identification, but slowly learning to separate space in the mind and begin to direct the attention to the breathing. So depending on what's happening, you can either take really deep breaths in the nose and do what we call ocean breathing, which is like almost letting out energy. Or if it's a lesser experience, you can just continue to breathe mindfully in the nose, out the nose. You can also do the technique where you breathe in the nose and then just a nice controlled breath and a more concise out breath through the mouth, like. The third technique is to ask questions. Ask questions to yourself about what is happening, and don't necessarily believe or listen to the answer that comes right away, because that's often the conditioned answer. A lot of times when we're overthinking, we become first thing, identify. Second thing is we give all this power. We don't actually ask questions and ask our intuition, ask our body, what is actually going on? Now, when I say that statement, that can sound kind of left field for people. What do you mean ask the body? What do you mean ask my intuition? When we ask questions, answers come. This is known ancient wisdom. It's not as complicated as it seems. We just have to actually ask the questions. You have an intuitive system in your body. You have an intuitive system in your mind. You have an intuitive system in all the different levels and forms that you exist in here on Earth. You have an intuitive system that guides you. And when you ask questions, that intuitive system is activated. If you don't ask any questions, it's not activated. So you can ask these 3 questions, not in any specific order, or ask one of them that resonates with you at that moment. The first question is, what am I afraid of? The second question is, what am I avoiding? Third question is, what is this trying to teach me? And actually, the fourth question is also helpful. What am I not seeing? Because oftentimes life's trying to show us something, but we're not seeing it. We're not getting with it. So we ask ourselves those questions. We ask great questions, great answers come. The fourth thing to do is to direct your attention into something that's actually meaningful. A lot of times, directing your attention towards doing what you're actually afraid of is what breaks through these patterns the most. I know that being a creator on this end, a lot of times when I'm experiencing anxiety or I'm experiencing overthinking or doubt, the greatest solution is to dive right into the fear and begin to do exactly that I'm afraid of. Doesn't necessarily relieve it right away, but it does begin to build a resilience, a mental resilience, which is one of the key aspects of mental mastery. And also what this does is it reinforces to your nervous system and your subconscious layers of being that you are safe and that whatever you are afraid of doing, it's okay. You're safe. And that's what a lot of this world is about. It's about feeling safe. It's about feeling secure. So much of our existence is based on fear. Fear is just not feeling safe and secure. So again, practice all four of these. They work together. The first thing, again, being identify less with the thoughts when they're happening. Train yourself to open up space. Direct your attention to the breathing because the breathing is actually happening. It's actually supporting you. Ask questions instead of giving yourself answers. What am I afraid of? What am I avoiding? Why is this happening? What is this trying to teach me? Direct your energy into something meaningful. Don't do what everyone else does and just distract yourself perpetually. You're just going to suffer even more and the looping will not stop. So that's everything for today. My name is Zachary. If you haven't done so already, like and subscribe to the channel. Leave a comment. Let me know what you guys think about this. I'll see you guys soon.